call to order the meeting. 5:01. All right. Consent agenda. Minutes from our last meeting.
I was there. I move we approve.
Jeff? Any seconds?
Second.
John? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. New business, election of officers. So, we need a chairperson,
Like Tom Fred.
and then what else is it,
The
secretary?
vice chair,
Chair.
John Byer, Jonathan is that, and Ron Bergen is secretary. And I would move that we elect the same officers as previous year. Unless Harlan wants to jump in there.
I'll second that
Any seconds on that?
one. I'll second that.
Okay. Well, we're in it for another year. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Of course, the two people that aren't on there are the ones that... It's all right.
Yeah.
All right, meeting schedule. What is our current meeting?
Fourth Wednesday at 5 is the scheduled one quarterly.
So what days will put us at?
Fourth Wednesday?
Fourth Wednesdays
Monday?
at 5. It says on here.
Should be Monday, right?
Should be Mondays, yep.
Okay.
Because this is Monday,
Yeah.
and it's the fourth Monday.
Well, it's a week because of the holiday, right? That's why it's this Monday, so last Monday?
And I think it's always the fourth Monday.
Oh.
Yep. Because the council meets on the second, fourth, and Public Works meets the second,
Good. All right.
and then airport is the fourth, or if anything else comes up.
So is there any objections on, or anyone have any ideas for that?
It can always be changed if something comes up, but I would move to set the airport board meetings for the fourth Mondays quarterly at 5 p.m. in council chambers.
I'll second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And Mr. Fuchs and Mr. Morgan.
Hello. I'm not going to read this word for word. You guys can take this home if you want a refresher or anything like that. Basically, Morgan's Motorplex is a business that I started kind of geared towards automotive stuff. We want to start doing like real close events, airport runs, kind of things that you don't typically see, but always kind of, hey, that would be interesting to do. So that's why we want to use or ask for permission to use the Painesville airstrip. It's kind of smaller, it's kind of low key, it's going to be beneficial to the town of Painesville. Just on a tax-based revenue alone, I've contacted the Hilltop restaurant to see if they would cater in meals. I don't want to deal with food permits with like Burroughs and burgers out there and stuff like that, so I want to find not a chain restaurant, but a local restaurant to cater in those meals. We could include those with ticket prices, so it's guaranteed money for whoever shows up to that. I did have a map of where parking and spectator parking and stuff, but it wouldn't fit on the pages. Long story short, what I would like to do is use the parking lot across from the airport for the trailers and the cars. They'll unload those. Once they get them unloaded, they'll drive into the airport, check in, do tech inspection, and then they'll have the cars within the airport, the hangars, keep everything off of the runway. The way we were going to do it is have two vehicles go down the runway. We'll set up 4 or 5 Jersey barriers on the end of the runway. They will park on the right side of the Jersey barriers. The next 2 cars will come down. Once those 2 cars are in a single file lane on the right-hand side, the 2 cars behind the Jersey barrier will get a thumbs up from one of the event staff to make their turnaround and come back, and that'll reduce a lot of time in between runs. Instead of going down, turning around, and then coming back, we think that would be the most efficient way without any taxiways. So, we're hoping to do it on a weekend, preferably Saturday. We seem to get the most people to show up for car events and stuff like that. And we all know everything gets full around summer, especially with car stuff and stuff like that. So, hoping to do something 7 to 7 and put a little schedule in there. Obviously, that's not to the T. Probably get cars running later in the morning, so we're not waiting the neighbors up. think I put, what did I put, 9:30, I think? Yeah, yep, so 9:30, we would have a morning session from 9:30 to, say, noon or 11:45, and then we would go from 12:45 until 6:15, just until dusk. So, and then we would spend the time to clean up the airport and stuff like that. We would rent bleachers, porta potties, garbage. It'll be cleaner than when we arrive. When we leave. So that's not our intention. We want to build that relationship, you know, bring it back with a tank full of gas tank. So,
And then the thought of using it as some type of a fundraiser for your activities. You know, I know there was, speaking with Harlan, there was some need for some funds for maybe a fly-in breakfast or some other activities there. You know, I think that would be an awesome way to kind of tie it all together, you know, so that it supports some local activity. And I don't know what your needs are. I guess I would, you know, ask you guys for that. But you know, that would be. And then the other thing that we've all spoken of, and some uncertainty as far as whether the process of getting it approved, you know, the FAA. I don't know how that component works, and so, and I don't know if you guys do or not, or if it's something we'd have to do some research on our end and come back to you. And I don't know what the knowledge is of using that facilities for something other than airport.
we do know they do a run in Jamestown
Yeah.
that is very successful, and then they have the Wings and Wheels. It's a car show that they let the cars park out on the strip over in Wisconsin, and I think they're doing their 40th year this year. So that's been going on a long time. They get a big turnout. It's
That's in
something-
Janesville?
Jamestown.
Yep.
They've got some experience running that event. Actually, the race group that I typically run with, the Midwest Well Bunch, actually runs at that event, Jamestown.
Yeah, that was gonna be one of my questions was, you know, coordinating with the airport to have that shut down during that time, which I would, you know, defer to the, you know, the experts here, the you know, the pilots that use it. Another question, and it's kind of a twofold question, is, you know, have you contacted the Chamber of Commerce as a potential partner?
I did. I spoke with Diane.
Okay.
And that was the you know, when we had supper together, kind of brainstorming. I wasn't sure, you know, which comes first. So I felt like it was best to approach you folks, see if there's interest, if it's something that, you know, and I spoke with Diane, and she thought it was awesome. She was excited about it, but I didn't want to approach it in a two-pronged way. I wanted to do very due diligence of asking you folks if there's interest, if it's something that we can make happen. And yeah, I think involving the chambers, you know, that's right up there with their wheelhouse. So.
And then, you know, you talked about food. Does Hilltop do catering?
I called them, they said they do not, but
Yeah.
I'm sure if they would package, you know, to-go boxes, they would do something like that if you pre-bought all the food.
Yeah, we do have a couple of food trucks in town.
What's that?
We have a food license.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure, you know, that when I think about like wild card pulling, you know, where they have, I believe the wrestling team or one of the sports teams involved in doing that. You know, I don't know how that affects the liability thing, but there is a kind of a precedence locally here of having that, and you know.
Totally open to it. The only
Yeah,
reason why I
that's-
said those guys were for the food permit.
Yeah, I know
Where they get in trouble
Yeah,
for.
the Lions Club, they do their hamburger stand every year, but they have to apply each year for a food license and have to go through training. And if someone does not already have that catering license, they would have to go through that same type of
Got it.
training. But, you know, we do have, what, 2 food trucks in town here that I'm sure would be, you know, if this goes forward, would be, you know, I think interested in doing
For sure.
something like
Yeah.
this. And, you know, even the wrestling clubs, that they would have to get their own.
Is that who does the, I was just trying to remember who did the tractor pull.
Probably, I don't recall. We were not able to go to the tractor.
I want to say it was wrestling.
Because we were working I was working at the hamburger stand.
You were. You were.
We got to cook,
And
right?
I had to go through the county training to get my food handling license. Yes.
Hey, we gotta do that soon.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
do you folks have any firsthand knowledge of how it works with the FAA as far as using a facility like that for an event other than landing planes? I mean, or would you have someone that we could contact and chase some of that information down, or I don't know what the process looks like, I guess is what I'm trying to
I
say.
don't know either.
I'm thinking our best bet is to have Ron call the FISDO.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right.
Ron is, because Ron is the airport
Airport
manager.
manager.
If you're okay with that, I'll carry the message to Ron and give him a presentation and see if, you know, kind of just rehash what we went through here and ask him if he'd be willing to do that.
Because we have to shut it down for like a fly-in or something,
Yeah.
because they don't, or not a fly-in, but for air shows. Because they don't want miscellaneous pilots coming, so there's a, you know, a process of informing all the, you know, pilots, putting it out there, that it's shut down from, you know, X time to Y time, that they can use, you know, other area airports if they need to.
What's a date that you guys are looking at?
Left it open.
Okay.
And that's where I was actually just gonna mention, I talked to Diane and I'm like, you know, is it something that would be an enhancement to Town and Country Days? Is it something that would be a distraction? And is that event already full? And she wasn't sure, but I mean, I'm certainly willing to have those conversations, whether they think it would be something that would be a beneficial add-in, or if it's already full and it would be done as a separate event. Open to those
Yeah, you know,
suggestions.
I'm what's the word I want to use here? Intrigued
Good, I'm glad.
by this, you know, and we have talked about, you know, this wouldn't work during our fly-in and air show, but we've talked about you know, like a rally around Lake Cronus as part of that, and we've had a little bit of a car show in that too. But you know, the more value you can add to events, you know, the more people you know potentially can bring into
Yeah.
different events. So.
And I think the nice thing about, you know, partnering with Mike is, you know, there's some structural knowledge already there and some structural things in place that he brings to the table. And I think that's a pretty easy path versus trying to, you know, create it all from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
So I go on a rally called Crown Rally out of the cities. They're based out of the cities, but they launch from like Chicago and we'll drive down to North Carolina. And on the way there, they'll stop at different scenes. So like last year, it was an airstrip. It was an abandoned airstrip, so they got permission to close that down, and we would run a Lamborghini against a Ferrari, like two things you would never see out on the street, let alone going down the airstrip. And that was super cool. And I got a lot of those guys saying that they would be super interested as long as it doesn't conflict with their schedules and stuff like that. But that was a super cool aspect of that event. And we had, you know, the local PD there running radar guns and getting them involved and stuff like that. It made out for some really cool promotions for them as well. So.
Well, and you look at what Duluth is doing, I mean, that's huge. That's become a huge
I
thing.
want to go see that.
I mean,
Yeah.
Garfield Avenue is shut down all day, all night.
Yeah.
When is that?
August, July,
August.
August.
Yeah, sure.
It's hot. I remember it's hot. Yeah. I want to say it's late August.
And I'm assuming that, you know, there's no real additional wear and tear on the runway other than some extra rubber that's laid down.
Yeah, that would be my assessment, yes.
And
You know,
that's where we stage cars and
Yeah.
have burnouts, because otherwise we don't take out the threshold of the numbers.
Mhm.
We're at the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep,
So some of the paint marking's gotta either be redone or just
Mhm.
stay away from them.
Okay.
yeah, whatever, you know, and if there's, you know, you know, rudimentary things that need to be cleaned up or fixed or repainted afterwards, you know,
Definitely.
we want to, you know, this isn't something we want to do once and, you know, burn a bridge. We want to, you know, grow this.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the biggest fear, I'll be honest with you, the biggest fear is rain. It's just, you know, you pour your heart and soul into
Yeah.
something, and all of a sudden that day it's pouring, and that's a real possibility. I mean, you know, that's a probably a 10% possibility.
That's the same with fly-ins.
Yeah, it's the same with the, you know, or the parade.
Or the parade, yeah.
So I mean, that's really probably the biggest fear of the unknown. But like I said, if you're willing, if you're okay with me proceeding, I'd be happy to connect with Ron tomorrow and carve out a time for him and at least explore that avenue, because realistically, if you can't get the government, the big government, to sign off on it, it's kind of a moot point.
When's Ron back?
Next week.
Oh, is he out?
Yeah, he's on vacation.
I'm sorry, okay. But I certainly could carry that message and get
Yeah.
him the.
I'm intrigued.
Do you folks have a funding need for something? Is there a cause that we could,
I don't want to take any profits from this, at least in the first couple of years, just to get it going.
yeah.
So I put Rally for a Cause on the flyer.
Mhm.
It could definitely be a local, Rally for a Cause is Crown Rally's fundraising for Shriners Epilepsy and Here to Cheers. So they've raised $273,000 in the 5 years. But if there's a
Mhm.
local charity, definitely, that's what we want to support. We don't want to support the big chain restaurants either. I would rather get Hillside Cafe to make something and give them the cash, you know? So. And then another thing I forgot to mention was insurance. We bring our own insurance if anything's damaged. Depending on what the government would like, typically it's $2 million per occurrence for the day, and we could get special event insurance for that, and we would cover that. So.
The one question I did have is where the Daniels Funeral Home?
Mhm.
The other portions of that, you know,
That loop there.
yeah, is that still city owned? You know, if that's the area that Mike was thinking about doing some vehicle staging, you know, unloading of cars and then bringing them across. So just FYI, that was kind of, you know, when we went out there and kind of looked at it, it seemed like it might be a good fit.
Yep, that parcel other
Well,
is city.
and with the hangars going up, or with the new hangar, that farmer's not renting that field between the airport and Veterans anymore.
Oh, okay.
So on the north side of the hangars, so we have that.
Oh.
I was just looking at it for the air show, and it's like,
Place
you
to
can
park.
get 340 parking stalls
Oh,
in there.
huge. Okay,
So I mean,
cool.
that's a huge area.
And that's on the right side of the road already.
Yep, that's, so that nothing will be
That's-
crossing back
that'd be
and
awesome.
That was
forth.
the biggest thing for us. I just wanted to get them off of Veterans, because, you know, people are gonna be turning
Yep,
in
yep.
there, and then it's gonna back up over the bridge. Wanted to get them out of there, so.
So your event for the cause, does that have to be to a 503C or can it just be to any nonprofit?
Any-
If it's not gambling money, then they're pretty.
Morgan's Motorplex is not a 503C,
Okay.
but we'll donate the profits for this.
Well, we are fundraising for an air show.
Yeah. No, which kind of makes sense that, you know, if you're using the facility
Sure.
to
Yep.
somehow
Take it
enhance
back into it,
the
yeah.
Absolutely.
facility. Yep.
And just for what it's worth, you know, when we looked at the facilities, obviously it's more than long enough for a quarter mile.
Mhm.
But, you know, eighth mile is a typical situation where you have an unprepped surface just to keep speeds down and safety wise, you know, so that's what kind of drove that.
Yeah, we won't be putting any grip or nothing on it for
No prep.
basically just to
That's
burn out
right.
warm the tires, and that's it.
I suppose the old tractor pull place down below the river is not long enough, huh? You probably remember that.
I do remember that. I remember Bruce Vanderpool being the announcer.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's got to be 30 years ago. Or more.
That's-
I bet more. 40 years ago.
Yep. Mhm. Huh. I'm intrigued.
I suppose the next step really would be to have Ron talk to whoever our FAA representative is for the airport, because I have no idea.
Yeah.
Okay. I will plan to do that then. When do you expect Ron back?
Next week, one day.
Okay.
I would email him.
Yep. Yep. I'll connect with him and kind of give him basically share the same packet of information and ask him if he'd be so kind as to pursue that end of it.
Mhm.
And then if that would come through, we'd, you know, like I said, Diane she was excited, so, but now, did they just change officers? Is she still even, I assume she's still involved in the chamber, but I don't know what her position is.
I think Adam Linedecker is the
Yep.
president.
Yep, I sat and watched the tractor pull with Adam last year, so certainly could seek him out too.
Yep. No, we shut the airport down for maintenance and things like that too, so it's not unheard of.
And maybe it's a situation where that can be combined into a, you know, I don't know, you know, what their schedule is for, you know, a Saturday, Sunday type thing, but, you know, whatever, you know, we're willing to make whatever work. You know, I guess that's the message we want to send.
Mhm.
And maybe Ron could pull the numbers from the fuel pump and say, well, Sunday's quieter for fuel sales.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if that works with you guys,
Mhm.
Any day on a weekend, just don't make people
Yeah.
take Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be a Saturday or Sunday,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, well, yeah. Monday through Fridays, limit a lot of the
Yeah.
working people type
Yeah.
thing, but Saturdays and Sundays are family times.
Yeah, because putting on a notice in the airport schools is easy.
Right. No, send a letter out to the tenants two at a time so they
Yeah.
know if they're gonna use it, maybe
Mhm.
something, make the arrangements. So they're not hauling out there with not being able to use their airport.
Yeah.
So you're out of St. Cloud?
Yep,
Hmm?
just south, St. Augusta.
Okay.
Yep. So we've been there since 2013, I think. So-
I was spying on you or stalking you.
Oh, yeah? No, that's fine. Yeah. So. Yeah, we'll see some pretty cool trucks and cars on here.
Do you have anything? Been kind of quiet.
I'm intrigued as well.
Yeah.
All right.
You know,
Yeah, no, the chamber's always looking for more events and things to, help them justify their
Yeah.
membership dues to, like I said, value add for their members.
I'm a member.
Yeah, me too. I'm
There
one
you
of
go.
the only, I think Wally and I are the only two individual members, but.
Okay, well, like I said, I'll pursue that with Ron and we'll see how it plays. Yep. Your next meeting isn't for another 3 months.
Unless we can meet on call.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and if I was able to get all the emails from Jennifer, could I email you all as a follow-up after I meet with Ron? Would that be okay?
Might be best to have Ron
Okay,
email us all.
fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll leave it in Ron's hands and he wears many hats, that man.
Yep.
I did have business cards. They're in the other car.
Oh.
Rental now. But my email's at the bottom of those.
Yep, I
pages,
saw that.
So I'm saved that way.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
and my only suggestion is there's a city ordinance that talks about like large crowd gatherings. There's like a permit you have to fill out with the city.
Okay.
Just check on that because it talks about like the fencing requirements and if you need to have a police officer actually there and all that stuff.
And-
So it's something just to reference.
The chamber may already be covered, but we'd have to look and see.
Okay, I'll have
It's
that
just
conversation.
something to look at, just so you guys come prepared and
Yeah. And no beer garden or anything like that. I know that's another question that popped up online. People were asking them. You don't mix those two.
Yeah.
No.
and I will send Ron an email saying that we're interested in it.
Okay, if you could kind of prime that pump and then I'll follow up with them and sit down and share the information with them. Awesome, thank you.
And if you want, I can just make a photocopy of this, put it right in his box and say,
Yeah.
we'll be
Oh,
contacting you about this.
fantastic.
I heard he can have my copy.
There you go. How about that? Then you don't have to worry about scanning one in and sending it to him.
All
I
right,
got a
sounds
spare
like a
one
plan.
too.
There
Mhm.
you go.
I got a spare one. Anybody-
There you go, yeah, throw it around.
Yeah.
Your first name was Mark?
Michael.
Michael. Okay.
Yeah.
Michael Mark.
This one in Staples.
Here,
Oh.
give them this one.
Oh, there you go.
Good.
Jeez.
Hmm?
I'm easy.
We'll trade it.
Oh, okay. I'll have my own copy.
There you go.
Hey.
Great.
All right, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
So open classes, would it be classes where guys at villages can bring their cars and stuff like that, like a street class? Or not?
Anything. Yeah, pretty much anything.
Yeah, we'd have,
Is
yeah,
there
that's
a-
all the details, but yeah, you have to, you aren't gonna get blown alcohol funny cars there unless I'm there, you know what I mean? I mean, that's just the reality, so you're gonna get street cars, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you want.
Right.
How fast does your funny car go?
4.5 seconds at 150 miles an hour in the eighth. That's 206.8, 200 a quarter.
Well, what we hit out there when we ran it? Well, 130, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Well, the reason why I ask that is one of our pilots for the air show flies a mini jet.
It's possible.
And it's a possibility, but he might want to do a drag race with the mini jet and the car
Oh.
during the air show.
You remember, now this goes back, and if you're not into motorsports, maybe it doesn't, but they did a deal where the top fuel dragster and a fighter jet did a drag race.
Oh.
Yeah, I bet. Big Daddy Don Garland's on it, yeah, it was kind of crazy.
So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind.
Yeah,
I might be calling and saying, hey.
I'm good,
That's part of the, yeah.
I'm good.
We're working on
Where
it.
our show box goes.
Yep.
over,
There
so.
you
We gotta work on some logistics with the FAA ourselves.
There you go. Yeah, you might need a special permit for that. All right.
Oh,
Perfect.
You.
All right, thanks, guys.
Mhm.
As intrigued as I am for the rest of the meeting, I sit through enough of these.
Yeah.
See you all.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Moving on to old business. Kent, this is you.
Yes, sir. The hangar update, it's gonna be pretty short. The slab is poured. They're waiting for the building to be delivered, which they were expecting around the end of February. That's it. Unless you guys have questions for me.
Yeah. Making progress anyway. Getting closer.
Plan is to start right on it
Yeah.
once it arrives.
Yep. Cool.
Anything on that? All right. Thank you, Kent.
Yes, sir.
Airport fly-in update. Well, it's coming together. Getting some sponsors lined up. We right now it's looking to be about an hour show because some sponsors came through for that Korean War memorial flight. And now we're hitting the sponsors hard the next couple of weeks. We kind of set a deadline of I think March 1st. We're gonna have them all lined up and go from there. So
You know, the other one I was thinking about is Highline. But I don't know anybody over there.
either
But they've got to be quite a big business here in town.
So, yeah, last night when I was, as soon as John's done looking at it, we can pass it on down. And it's just something quick to kind of like the sponsorship packages we kind of put together for the businesses, the other night.
Yep.
Put a little bit about each act and kind of what we're looking for.
You got more of these?
Well, as soon as you guys think they look good, I'll make copies.
Okay.
Then that way they're colored. But sent it off to Bose headsets. And they're looking at maybe donating a Bose headset for a raffle. So, stuff like that.
Sure.
Garmin, thought about Garmin, for flight, stuff like that. So, but I don't know. I think we'll have a good turnout.
Do you have the meet and greet on here?
That's on right here. We're waiting for
Oh, on the very bottom? Okay.
like I was explaining to John, waiting to make sure I can finalize it with the contracts, and they will do that on Saturday.
Oh.
Because the other thing that, when I mentioned, one pilot said yes for sure. I haven't heard from the other ones yet, but one of his concerns was how if they're delayed for a while coming in, and that's the day they arrive. So, figured just kind of wait and,
So don't mention anything about meet and greets on a practice day.
worst case scenario, we'll do it on the day of the show. Because then they'll be there. Then we know who's going to be there.
Then you can go back and tell them later.
Yep. Which makes sense, because if
Sure.
someone gets held up with weather and then all of a
Right,
sudden.
they can't get in.
Yep. So I understand that legally they don't need to do a practice flight, it's just something that they do, so if they can get in at 8 o'clock at night. How long do we want to sit there and pull sponsors over for a meet and greet? But I didn't really know what to put on there, so I'm gonna just put some generic information about each act, and the three main ones. And if you have ideas for other things that we can give the sponsors, just let me know and I can toss that on there. Want to make it worthwhile for everyone, so
Yeah, it's nice to have something we can bring to them,
and it's not real big, but it's
Yeah, it's easy enough.
yep.
Well, that's from this year with the car show. Yeah. Cool.
And like I put on there, I mean, if a group wants to donate $100, let us know and we'll work with them.
That's right.
All right. On to informational. So Ron asked me to, if you guys want to read this, you can. It's basically saying the support for the self-serving fuel terminal will end on June 30th of 2020. The unit is no longer feasible as replacement parts are no longer manufactured and supply is minimal. So Ron has started the process of looking into that and the grants available for that, so.
Is that the car control system?
Yep.
Okay.
So, nothing we have to take action on tonight, just wanted us to know.
Yeah, it's interesting, they give you a discount if you sign up by a certain date, but they don't tell you what the price,
Yeah.
starting price is.
That's what I was just gonna ask, what does the new one go for?
Yeah,
I can imagine.
Ron's working on that.
How hard could it be?
Well, that's the word aviation, and so they just double it.
We can look at just instruments. Look at a Garmin G5.
Oh, I know, just ridiculous.
For a certified airplane is how expensive, and then for
The
non-certified.
exact same thing for experimental, it's half the cost.
Yep.
Mhm.
But the way things go, as soon as support is done, is when they
Yep.
don't want to use this word around an airport, but the system will crash.
Okay.
And then the only other thing for informational, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, I worked with Ron and we got him signed up for 4Flight so we can update the fuel on 4Flight and keep that updated. I don't know if you use 4Flight, but the fuel for there for the longest time was $3.99 a gallon, so
I saw it was higher.
There's gotta be other companies than these guys out there that sell this stuff.
yeah. And I think Ron's looking.
Because I've never even seen one of these before at all the airports that I go to.
But I know Ron's gonna update it with the courtesy car, and then once the hangars are done, hangar rentals and all that stuff. So kind of take a more of a proactive approach to that too. Just like you use 4Flight, I use 4Flight, I don't know about you guys.
Jet. But jet bought for flight.
Yeah. So I think that would help us out in the long run too. Because I mean, I was just showing Ron on my phone how it works, and it's handy.
Yep.
So,
You can update notems and stuff on there as well.
yep. I thought that was all automatic, the norms that automatic at the
I thought it was too.
So,
Ron's the one that does that, right? The notems.
yep. I also have access, so I could do one if we absolutely had to.
Like snowstorm at night or something before the snowfall comes out. You
Yep.
just close the airport.
Yep.
Braking action is always handy. Snow cover.
Yep. Very true.
So, that's all we have for informational. Anything else from anyone else? So that must have been when they did the fly-in with. What do we do? Make a motion to adjourn or no?
I don't know if we approved the agenda.
Oh, all right.
Street dance, beer garden, food concessions.
Yeah, this was during Town and Country Days.
Yep.
Oh, so that's really good, street dance stuff.
Yep.
I gotcha.
Mhm.
Does this look alright? Do you want to change it?
The only thing that with these, I don't know how you format it differently. When I first looked at it, this looked like it was part of.
All of that? Okay. I wonder if I could just put a line. Okay.
Yeah.
20 minutes till the next meeting? 25?
Yeah.